So today on the bench, I want to tie you up lunch money. Now this pattern was developed by Dave Burns of the Golden Gilly specifically for the big bull trout, and it's a super effective pattern. Make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. For the hook, we'll use a size 1/0 3X steelhead hook, some 6/0 red thread to tie with, some 7 32nd-inch red dumbbell eyes for the eyes. For the body, we'll use some 15mm plush white chenille, some white marabou for the underwing, some 2014 polar flash for the highlights, some white rabbit super strips for the overwing, and some white rabbit super strips for the head. So to start the fly off, I'm going to take my red thread and just build up a little foundation, especially near the eyelet because that's where we're going to put our eyes. So just wrap it in pretty good to start. Get rid of your excess. And we're going to take our eyes, and I like to use smaller eyes. Like again, these are medium size. If you go with the large eyes, the fly could tend to flip over on you. So you want some weight, but you don't want a lot of weight in there. And leave yourself room at the eyelet. You can see I'm back quite a ways from that eyelet, probably at least a 1/4 of an inch, because you want to give yourself room for the rabbit later. So I'm just going to wrap it in good and figure eight these eyes in well. Really wrap them in good. You don't want them moving. So I give it a bunch of figure eights and pull quite hard. It's a stout thread, and we've got 6/0 thread. So wrap it in good. And once it's wrapped in, just to secure them, I'd like to take that UV coat. Again, you can use head cement, but I coat it up with the UV finish. Give it a good coating and give it a hit. And that's gonna just secure those eyes so they don't move. All that thread and the eyes will just stay right there. So give that a little hit. Now the eyes are wrapped in, I'm just going to move my thread back just a little bit. And I want a fairly big body on this. So what I'm going to do is take my plush chenille, I'm going to tie it in just behind the eyes, wrap it back, which actually helps form the body. And I'm going to go back, just leave yourself a little bit of room. Don't go down the hook bend, stay up top. Wrap your thread forward and then wrap in a body. And we like a nice full body. So as you wrap it, keep tying over itself a little bit, keep pulling the material back, and you'll get a real nice full body on the fly. Because you are imitating essentially a fry pattern or something quite big. Actually, a whitefish. That's what these big bullies love to eat is whitefish. So you want it fairly thick. And wrap it up near the eyes. Leave yourself a little bit of room to tie off. And cut off your excess. Now that the body's tied in, I like to take my marabou. So I've got 2 marabou feathers. And what we're going to do is we want this to extend back at least, we want this big pattern. I want it extending back at least 2 inches behind my hook bend. So I'm going to take 2 long marabou feathers, just cut them so they're the right length and lay down and tie them right in, right where you finish the body. And again, you could even wrap over your eyes a little bit just to tie it in. You want that really tied in nicely. And those feathers will lay right along the back of the fly and create an underwing. Now that we have the marabou tied in, I'm going to take some polar flash, and we just want a little bit of highlight down the back of the fly. So when I want it as long, if not longer, than that marabou. So you see when I pull it back, the marabou ends and the polar flash continues. So I've tied it in just the right amount, right length, and give that a good tie in, and that'll help create another bit of flash and underwing. Now that I have the complete underwing tied in, I've got my marabou and I've got a nice flash in there. What we're going to do is take our rabbit strip and I'm going to poke a hole in it right about, I'm going to leave, at least 1.5 inches for underneath for the collar. I'm going to take my scissors and just pop a hole through the rabbit, right about there, and we're going to put it in right at the eyelet, okay? Leave it sitting there. You can see the eyelet's exposed, and then we've got a whole bunch of rabbit over the back. Now pull some of the fibers forward and then wrap our thread and tie it in really good. On the top, Pull that rabbit back and then pull the beard down below, under, and pull some material forward. And again, wrap in more red thread. We want a real nice red color on this fly. It makes it look like, you know, gills or bleeding, and really adds a hot spot. Now once you have it tied in, before you cut anything off, we're going to take our whip finisher and we're just going to whip finish right behind the head. And if you want to make sure it stays together, you can put some head cement on there, or even some clear coat. So now we have a nice front collar. When this, you know, flies in the water, it all pulls back. I'm going to cut this bottom beard so it's just goes to the hook tip. So just before it hits the hook tip, I've cut it there. So I've got a bottom beard on the fly. And now what we want to do when we're cutting this off, we want the rabbit the longest part of the fly. So again, bull trout want a big pattern. So I'll go back even, you know, probably right to where my flashabou ends. I'll even go at least another ½ an inch past that. So we want to make this big. So there it is. And that fly now, when it hits the water, all this material is just going to swim in the water. And it's a nice big pattern, and the bull trout love it. So there it is, the finished lunch money. You know, we showed you in a series or two ago, Gandalf the White, another really good bull trout pattern, but we haven't been able to find anything that comes close to catching bull trout like lunch money. Better have some of these in your box.